Look at this line. This is how a massive amount of trade moves between Asia and Europe. Now look at this one. Same continents, same oceans, but this route cuts across the top of the world, avoiding Suez and running along the northern coast of Russia. For most of modern history, the problem was obvious. Ice. But now, ice is changing, and so is the map. What looks like a shorter shipping route is becoming something much bigger. An economic corridor, a Russian control point, a Chinese ambition, and a new NATO frontier. The Arctic is not just melting, it's becoming infrastructure. Part of the reason that this route feels strange is that most maps hide it. On a normal world map, Asia and Europe look separate by this enormous northern emptiness. But if you turn the planet, something becomes obvious. Russia sits across almost the entire northern edge of Eurasia. People have searched for a northern passage for centuries. The Soviet Union, however, did not wait for the ice to disappear. It built ports, weather stations, settlements, and icebreakers to turn its northern coast into a working internal route. NOAA reported that the Arctic's winter 2025 was the lowest maximum sea ice reported in satellite history. Now, the Arctic still freezes. This is not an ice-free ocean, but the thickness, coverage, and timing of the ice are changing, altering when and where ships can move. This means that this is currently just a seasonal opportunity. It's not a dependable replacement for the Suez. And even when this route is possible, a ship cannot simply point north and go. Because this shortcut runs through waters where Russia claims to have this authority, the shorter path does not avoid geopolitical control. It moves directly through it. Russia also owns the only nuclear-powered icebreakers. This means that the shortcut can come with a price. Stronger ships, specialized crews, Russian permits, icebreaker assistance, higher insurance, and fewer emergency options. The Suez is longer, but it connects established ports, fuel repair facilities, and predictable schedules. The Arctic is shorter, but it's also emptier. For certain voyages between Northern Europe and Northeast Asia, research suggests that the Arctic route can reduce sailing distance by roughly 30 to 40% compared with Suez. But 40% distance isn't 40% less cost. Escorts cost money. Delays are unpredictable. A closed route can erase the shortcut completely. And then, China enters the map. In 2018, China's official Arctic policy called for cooperation on a polar Silk Road developed through Arctic shipping routes. China's not an Arctic country by any sense of the word, but it calls itself a near-Arctic state. This route could give Chinese trade another path toward Europe while deepening its partnership with Russia. From Beijing's perspective, the appeal is obvious. Another corridor means less dependence on the familiar choke points controlled, monitored, or protected by other powers. But most northern sea route traffic today is not a flood of ordinary containers replacing Suez. Much of it supports Russian energy and resource exports moving along Russia's own Arctic coast. So what does this tell us? Well, it means that the Arctic path is growing faster than the global trade routes can match it. Now let's look at who surrounds the rest of the Arctic. 7 of the 8 Arctic states are members of NATO. Russia is the 8th. NATO describes the Atlantic as a gateway to the northern Atlantic, with vital trade, transport, and communication links. But it also warns that increasing Russia-China cooperation has strategic consequences. That is why this isn't just a shipping map. It is a missile warning, a submarine map, a satellite map, and a reinforcement route between North America and Europe. This year, in 2026, NATO launched Arctic Century and a new Arctic Awareness Initiative, as this alliance was increasing its attention on this region. The paradox of this is hard to miss. The same warming that damages Arctic ecosystems is creating more access for trade, extraction, and military competition. More shipping also brings more emissions, black carbon, noise, and spill risk into an environment where emergency response is difficult and cleanup can be extraordinarily hard. And the Arctic is not empty of life. The lines drawn on strategic maps cross environments and communities that have lived there long before governments called it a corridor. So will this route replace the Suez? Not soon. It's too seasonal, too risky, too politically controlled, and too thinly supported. But it doesn't have to replace the Suez to matter. It only has to become useful enough to change planning. Climate change is not simply opening up a new shortcut. It's creating a new contested space at the top of the brain. On most maps, the Arctic sits at the edge. But on the maps of the future, it may just sit in the center. Thank you for watching The Hidden Media.